First of all, we need to understand what you mean by function. Function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. It means first we create the functions, and then whenever we need it and wherever we need it, we can call it and we can execute it. We can also pass the data known as parameters into a function. Also, we pass parameters or data from outside of the function body or outside of the function, and data is known as parameters. A function can return data as a result. When any function execute, then the function generate the result, and we can use result, and the function can return the result from where it is called. The idea is to put some commonly and repeatedly task. Suppose in case if you want to execute some repeated task, function is also capable to repeat the task or repeat the loop body, but function can repeat the task only at a single place, not different at different places. But the function is capable to repeat the same task at different places and make a function so that instead of writing the same code again and again for different inputs. Suppose if you want from anywhere you want to add some two numbers like 5 and 10, and at the same different plates you want to again add two numbers, but the number is 10 and 20. At that time we should use functions. Some benefits of using functions: code reusability, as you mentioned previous slide. The function is used or allow us to reuse the our code multiple times. Once you create the function, and you can call it multiple times or multiple different locations. Readability: function make our code more readable. Function can also uh, capable or do the code readability. Abstraction: function provide abstraction means when we create a function and we just call with the name of the function, the background detail is hidden from the developer. Maintainability: with functions we can easily maintain our code. Suppose you if you have multiple functions, more than one function, then your maintainability is very easy, and your code is very compressed. Testing function: if suppose in a program we have multiple modules, more than one functions or more than one, then we can test only some functions or one by one functions, and then we can incorporate our functions one by one. So we can say the testing of our program or testing of our code is very easy or very easy task in that case. Types of then next topic comes in picture, that is types of function in Python. So we can classify the function into two category. The first category is predefined function, or we can say it is also known as library functions, and the second category of the function is known as user defined function. User defined functions to reduce the complexity of big program. You can use user defined functions. You can use the user defined functions to reduce the complexity of big program. As mentioned in benefits of the function, our code complexity is very reduced by the using of function. Now the big built-in library function, these are standard functions in library that are available to use. Some functions are available for already provided by the Python library. And user defined function means we can create our own functions based on our requirement, whatever we need or whatever our requirements. According to our requirements, we can create different type of functions. Python built-in functions. Here we mention some points in by which we can easily understand the definitions and the advantages of the built-in Python functions. Python provide a lot of built-in functions that easy to the writing of code. It means the built-in function only used for calling the function. That is not written. It is already writing the code in a library. In this lecture, you will learn about Python's built-in function. Our in this tutorial, you can also understand how we can use the Python's built-in functions, explore their various application and highlighting some of the most commonly used ones. It means here we explore the various applications of built-in functions, and some most commonly applications are highlighted here. Built-in functions are already defined in Python library. As I told you, built-in functions are not defined in our program, in our code. It is defined in a already defined in the Python library. We can only call them and we can only use them in our program using the name of the function. A user has to remember the same name and parameters of a particular function. The user only need, a developer, the only need to remember the name and parameters of a particular function. It is never need to remember or never need to define the whole definition of the function. Since these functions are predefined, there is no need to define them again and again. It means you never need to define, or you never need to define them functions again in the your program. Here some list of built-in functions. Python ABS function, it returns the absolute value of a number. Suppose for example, if you have 22.7, and what is the actual value or absolute value of this number is 22.7. It means round up. If we perform round up function, then we can get the 23. Then this function you also use the return the absolute value of the particular number. So whatever we pass to the parameter, then it can be absolute value. Python bin. Python bin function. Bin means binary. Convert any integer to a binary string. Suppose if you want to convert all in already you know that if any number, when we convert into binary, then we have to perform some predefined steps. But when we go for binary library functions or built-in function, the function directly convert the integer number into binary number. Python bull function means boolean. uh, Return or convert a value to a boolean value, that is true or false. If you pass any statement, then it convert or it return the value in the form of true or false. Python dictionary function. Suppose if you want to create in dictionary, just we will learn dictionary in next class. But here, if you want to create a dictionary, then in Python, then you can use dict function. Python float function, returning a floating point number from number or a string. Suppose if you want to convert any integer number without decimal number, non-real numbers, you convert. If you want to convert into float point, or it is convert into, if you want to convert it into real numbers, you can use float numbers. Input function, it, as we already discussed in some programs, previous programs, if we want to take any input from user, then you can use input function as a like built-in function for taking input from the user. And input function always use or take a value as a string. We need to convert it into which type of value you want. Suppose if you want to integer type value, then you need to convert it into int. And suppose if you want to use this value as a floating point, then you need to convert it into as a floating point value. Python int function, int, integer, convert a number into a given base to decimal. It means a number is converted into integer number. The whatever we pass to the uh, function or parameter is a parameter, then this function convert it into the integer value. Python length returns the length of the object. Suppose if you pass the any value into this in string format, then the function len is written the length of, length means number of characters in this string, it written by the len function. list function. Create a list in a Python. It means if you want to create a list of some items, then you can use list function. Python open function. Open function, it means suppose if you want to open any file or object of your computer and whatever is stored in the computer, we can, if you want, then you can use the open function. Print function means if you want to print anything on the output screen, you can, or print on the console screen or output screen, you can use print function as well. Python range function generate a sequence of numbers. Suppose if you want to print numbers from 1 to 10, then you can use range function. And when if you remember, whenever we when we understand that we learn about for loop, then the range function is used with the for loop. Python round up function is the function which is used to round up the value, floating point value, into the next integer number. Suppose if you want to round up the number 25.8, the roundup value is 29, then the roundup function is used. And the next function is Python sum function. Sum up the numbers up in the list. Suppose if you have list of 10 numbers or 20 numbers, and if you want to perform the sum of up all the numbers available or present in the list, then you can use sum function is built-in function. The next second type of function is user defined functions. All the functions that are written by any of us come under the category of user defined functions. It means whatever we write the function, or we create, or we develop the function, that functions are known as user defined functions. Part of an user defined function, any user defined function have different parts. There are basically five parts of a function. The keyword, whenever we use like user defined function, we need to use keyword as def. And the second part of a function is function name. Then parameters, you can use parameters as a function parameters. And the function body, the next one is function body. And again the next one is return. Here return statement and parameters are not compulsory part, it is optional part. And def and function name and function body, these three parts are compulsory parts of a function when we define any function. The syntax to declare a function is Python. Suppose if you want to declare, or we want to create a function in Python, user defined function, so we have to use this syntax to define a function. So first of all, we need to write the def keyword. Def, it is def, it's a case sensitive keyword. Always we write in small letters. And then we write here the function name. Suppose if you want to give the name to the function like abc or sum or print or hello, whatever, then you can write here the name of the function. The name of the function is the identification of the function. Always this function is identified, this the function name. The next parameters, suppose if you want to parameters, if you want to pass the parameters to function. Parameters means any value whatever we pass from outside of the function body, then you can write the name the parameters here. The next, the statements means it is also known as body of function. Body of function means here we can write anything whatever we want to do with the help of function. Whatever we write here, the function, when function execute, these statements are get executed, and result will be generated. And the next one is return expression. It means the function execute the statement and then generate a output and return statement. express or return the output outside to the function body. This is the syntax for declaring a user defined functions. When we use built-in function, then this definition or this declaration is done within function library. So we can easily understand the declaration and syntax of a user defined function. User defined function well defined and well declared before use it. Whenever we use it and whenever we want to use it, then we need to first declare and then we can use the user defined function. Type of user defined function, you can classify the user defined functions as well. There are four type of functions, user defined functions, on the basis of two things. One is parameter. If you pass the parameter, then it is different type, and when you not pass the parameter, then different type. And if function return value, then it is different type, and when function not return value, then it is also different type. So there are four type of function parameters. The function type of user defined functions. Number one, non parametric functions. Number two, parametric function. Number three, non-return function. And number four, returned function. These are the different four type of a function. You can classify the functions, user defined functions, into the following four category. Non-parameterized function. A non-parameterized function is, we already mentioned the function body here. Body of a statement is known as function body. If suppose you doesn't pass the parameter or argument from the outside body, it means a non-parameterized function is a function that does not take any argument from outside function body. It means you cannot or you never pass the parameters from the outside of the function body. It always work on the values or the inputs that is provided within a function body. You never pass the argument from the outside of the function body. Okay. Now the next topic is iterative statement. Iterative statement means a loop. In general, we can also say that a iterative statement in Python is known as loop. In computer programming, a loop is a sequence of instruction. Sequence of instructions means you can say block of statement, block of instructions that is continually repeated. The block of statement continually repeated until a certain condition is reached. First of all, we need to understand why we need the loop. Suppose, for example, if you want to repeat some block of statement or a set of instructions in a particular time or for a particular time. So the option one is one option generally we have, just we have to copy paste. Suppose I print a hello world 10 times. Then the general simple option is I copy print hello world and paste it 10 times. But if the repetition is in small numbers like 10, 20, 30, then no problem, we can do it easily. But when the number increase, then this phenomena or this procedure is not technically correct and feasible. So Python introduced a new concept that is known as loop. We can repeat any number of times with a simple or single statement with set of instructions. Typically, a certain process is done, like for example, a certain process is done means whatever you want to repeat, you can type it or you can put it into this block, such as getting an input of data. Suppose if you want to input data 5 times, then you are put the input statement in a loop and changing it and you want to change it in a particular data, and then some condition is checked. If the condition is true, whether a counter has reached a prescribed number, then the loop terminate. You can see the flow chart of the loop. Enter in loop body, last item is in sequence. Suppose the your item is last in a sequence. If true, loop terminates. If you are not reached at the last, then false, body of the loop. It means whatever you write in a loop body, it execute and again check the condition. Again, the suppose if you try to print your name on a screen 10 times, then you can print with the help of loop. Now, working of the loop statement. Very important. We understand here how loop working. First, every loop has three pointer. Number one is start pointer. Start pointer always tell about the first value. Start states the integer value at which the sequence begin, means where from where our loop starts. If this is not included in the then start begins at 0. If you are not put any number, then always start begin with 0 value. Stop, the second thing, that is known as stop. Stop is always required and is the integer that is counter up to not but included. It means stop means once your loop start, then from where up to you want to go. The stop pointer is also known as termination condition. Termination condition means where your loop is stopped and where your loop is terminated. And the third one is step. Set how much to increase. Once your loop is start, then how much your next step increase or decrease. You can say if we go forward, then increase. If we go backward, then it is decrease. You can say you can see the diagram. Start, initialize the value. Initialize means start the value. Once your loop start, check the condition. If the condition is true, statement executed, and then increase the value or decrease the value. In case of suppose if your initialization is start from 100 and you goes up to reverse order up to 1, then in this situation, in this scenario, your increment or decrement is decrease. Once the condition is false, then your program or your loop end or your loop terminate. This initialization is known as start condition. This condition is known as stop condition. Once the condition is reached, once a condition is true, false, then it is stop condition. And this increment or decrement is known as step increase. You can see stop steps how much to increase or decrease in case of negative numbers. The next iteration, if this is omitted, step by default. If we omit this statement, then it is by default step is 1. Python has two. Now then we discuss how many types of loop are provided by the Python. There are two type of loop in a Python. One is while loop and another is for loop. The while loop, with the while loop we can execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. You can see, suppose if you want to print 1 to 10 6 numbers onto screen, then I equal to 1. This statement is known as start statement. From where your loop is start, then I equal to 1. Your loop start from 1. While the second step, stop condition, while I is less than 6. This loop repeat the entire loop body until it reach to I is less than 6. If the condition is true, then your loop body will be execute. If the given condition is false, then the loop body or loop terminated from the loop body. Check, I is equal to 1 while I is less than 6. Yes, true. Because of the I is 1, the value of I is 1 and 1 is less than 6. Print I. You can see the output. 1 is printed here. And I plus equal to 1. What is this? This is a composite assignment operator. If you remember, in my previous classes, I explained you I equal to I plus 1. It means the value of I is increased. And you can say in previous class, once condition is true, then the increment, this one is increment. It means the next value of I is incremented by 1. Now 1 plus 1, 2. Again check the condition. You can see the flow chart. If the condition is true, statement execute, increment the value, and then again condition will be checked. And same process repeat until the given condition is false. Same process will be repeated until the given condition is false. Now I is become 2. Now check the condition. I is less than or equal to less than 6. Tell me, 2 is less than 6. Yes, the given condition is again true. Print I. Print 2. Again I is updated. The value of I is incremented by 1 again. 2 plus 1 is 3. Again the condition is checked. 3 is less than 6. Yes. Given condition is true. Again print 3. 4. Next 4. Next 5. Once the I is reached at 5, 5 less than 6. Yes. Print I. 5 printed. Next value. I plus equal to 1. It means 5 plus 1, that is 6. 6 is less than 6. Remember less than operator. Once I demonstrate you the less than operator. 6 is not less than 6. 6 is equal to 6. So the given condition is false. And what uh, is action taken when the given condition is false? Then you can see once the given condition is false, then the loop is terminated. The loop is goes up to end. It means it is exit from the loop body. That's why you can see here only 1 to 5 numbers are printed in output but not 6. Why? Because the given condition is false when the value of I is 6. If the given condition is false, then the loop body never will be executed. Getting? Now, the break statement. Suppose in some situation, if your loop is goes up to 1 to 6, but if you want to break in between the loop statement, once you set I equal to 1 and I is less than 6, already we seen in previous example, once you write this, then your loop will be executed 5 times. But if we are we want to break the loop when I is equal to 3, when I is reach up to 3, then the loop will be terminated. If you want, then the break statement is used for the loop, stop the loop in between the given condition. With the break statement, we can stop the loop even if the while condition is true. If suppose the while condition is true when the I is 3, the while condition is true, but even the while condition is true, you want to stop the loop, then you have to use break statement. I is 1, true, print I 1. If I is equal to 3, not, the condition is not true. Why? The I is 1 and 1 is not equal to 3. I plus 1, I is become 2, 2, print 3, print. And if I equal to 3, the value of I is 3, then break. You can see 4, 5, is not printed at the output screen because of when I is reached to 3, then the break statement will execute, and the break statement is used to stop the loop even the given condition is true. Getting my point? Okay. Now the second example of while loop. Suppose if you want to print multiplication table using basic while loop. Multiplication table means suppose 1 is to 5, 2 is to 5, 3 is to 5 up to 10 table. Basic while loop multiplier, we declared a variable multiplier 5, counter 1. Counter means how much count in table. Counter less than 10 are equal to. It means it start from 1 and goes up to less than or equal to 10. Result equal to counter into multiplier. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the multiplier will be same. Print counter into multiplier into result. You can see the table format. Counter plus equal to, it means this one is increment. Multiplier 5, counter 1. While counter is less than or equal to 10. Yes, counter is less than or equal to 10. Result equal to counter, that is 1 into multiplier 5. Print counter 1 multiplier 5 equal to the result 5 into 5, 5. Second, the counter plus equal to 1. Now counter is increased by 1. Counter become 2. 2 is less than 10. Yes. Result equal to counter 2 into multiplier. 2 into multiplier 5. The value of counter is printed here 2. The value of multiplier is 5, and the result 2 into 5, that is 10. And same process repeat until the counter become 10. Because of the equal to sign, when I counter value is 10, then true. When the counter value is 11, the counter is less than, it means 11. Okay class, we already discussed the different Python basics like data type, operators, comments, all type of operators we already discussed. For example, arithmetic operator, comparison operator, logical operator, and assignment operator. And I hope you remember all the things. Once you recap and revise the things, now we are going to discuss the next and very important topic of Python programming, that is control conditional or decision making statement. First of all, understand what is control or conditional statements. In real life, most of the time we have to take decisions, and we need to take decision or to make a choices, and based on these choices we determine our next actions. Either for example, you can say whenever you travel on the road, if signal is red, then you stop and then decide whether you are moving left or you are moving right. So same situation in programming, what will be the next statement will be execute, it is determined, it is decided by a control statement. That's why it also control the flow of execution. That's why it is called control statement. And in other words, we can say that it depends on any condition. Whatever you can provide the condition, so it is also called conditional statement. And the execution wait at the condition statement and then decide, then make decision whether this block will be executed or this block will be executed. That's why it is also called decision making. So don't confuse all the three terminology: control statement, conditional statement, and decision statement, or are same. Now the question arises here, sir, how you can determine the control, conditional, and we, by which name we recognize them? So there are different type of control statement in Python programming language. So different type of flow control statement in Python. Number one, if statement. Second, if else statement. Next, nested if statement and elif statement. Now we will discuss one by one in detail. Python if statement. If statement means we provide a expression. I hope you remember the expression. Expression is a statement which produce some output, which produce some new value from the inputs. If statement, when execution start, our execution is start from top and goes up to bottom. When any diamond box is there, you can see the flow diagram of the uh, if statement. Once execution is come here and then test the expression. If the given expression, given condition, I hope you remember when I was discussing in the comparison operator. Can you tell me anyone? Comparison operator is also known as condition or conditional state operator, because the operators use for making a condition. Sir, how we make test expression? With the help of conditional operator, with the help of comparison operator, we create or we prepared or we make a text expression. The execution compiler, the uh, system checks if the given expression is true, then enter into the if body. There are two uh, body, one is if body and another is else body. We will discuss it later, but here we discuss if body. If the given condition is true, for example, if you entering into the tunnel and if the turn is left side, then you move the left side, you don't move to right side. So if the statement, the test expression is true, then you enter into body. If the statement is false, because of the if statement works on boolean condition. Boolean condition means if the output of the condition either the true or false, it is used to decide whether, the second point you can see the clearly mentioned here, it is used to decide whether a certain statement or block of statement will be executed or not. If the condition is true, then the block of statement will be executed, otherwise it not be executed. Suppose for example, uh, if you are going to the voting, if once the officer asks to you, your age is greater than 18, then you can vote. otherwise not. It means a specific condition is there, and then once we check the condition, if the condition is true, then enter into if body, otherwise out of the body. You can see condition is true if the number is 10. If number is 10, the condition is true. Otherwise, suppose a very realistic example I have in my mind, that is, once you go to the ATM, and if you enter the withdraw amount 10,000, and if you don't have the 10,000 in your account, can you withdraw? No, because of the given condition, the given amount, the computer inside the ATM machine inside the check if the entered amount is less than to available amount, then you can withdraw. Otherwise, a error message is generated insufficient fund in your account. It means the condition is inside the machine, and once when you execute the program, then the condition first check. If the condition is true, then the block of statement or certain statements are executed, and if the condition is false, then there is no execution of the block of statement. You can see when condition is true, the code inside the if number is greater than 0, you can see if number is greater than 0, the code will be execute. If the number is the value of the number is minus 5, and we check if number is greater than, is the minus 5 is greater than 0? No, the minus 5 is not greater than 0. It means the condition is false. Then the code will not be execute, and code after if the code after if will be execute. Syntax for if statement. If in Python we write if, then condition statement in within condition. Here we mention one thing is very important. Here you can see the colon after the condition. It means it colons decide the if statement, and here is the hash sign. Hash sign is the can you tell me anyone what is the meaning of hash sign? It's a comment. It's a comment. If your whatever you want to execute after the condition is true, you can write here. And after condition execution, in other programming languages, there is a curly bracket to indicate the opening of block and closing of the block. Opening curly bracket is used to open a block, and closing curly bracket is used to close the block. But in Python, there is no curly bracket, there is no use of curly bracket. So how we determine any block from where it starts and from where it close? So the indentation means we make some space, horizontal space for the block statement. You can see the statements inside the if statement is some little bit inside in the if statement indentation. This space is known as indentation. Indentation means generally 4 blank spaces provided, one tab space is provided for indentation. Once you write the inside the if statement, it means if condition true, all statements are inside a block will be executed. For example, don't confuse, we will discuss it later. You can see an example program to illustrate the if statement. If the I equal to 10, if I is greater than 15, the value of I which is already initialized, that is 10. If the value of I is 15, I is greater than 15. If the I value of I is not greater than 15, then I am not in if block. The output is because of the condition is not true. The condition is the output mention here, the output I am not in if block. Why? I is greater than 15 is written in the your block, your program, but the block is not executed. Why? Because the condition, the given condition is not true. Now we will illustrate, we will demonstrate it in a Google Colab. Now the same program is, I write here I equal to 10. If I is greater than 15, colon, print I is greater than 15. Otherwise print I am not in if block, then run. You can see the output. You can see the clear the output. You can see the output is I am not in if block. If the given condition is true, then the print I is greater than 15. Otherwise, the given condition is false. Then we are directly goes to print I am not in if block. The execution pointer not enter into if block because of the given condition is false. Now the drawback of if block. If block, the if statement is consider only true output. You can see the if statement consider only true output. It is not provide the any solution, any treatment for the false output. If the and anyone you know very well, any given condition is have two output. One is true and another is false. If the given condition generate true output, then our block will be execute, no problem. But if the given condition is generate false output, then there is no proper treatment what we should do at the false output. So this is the major drawback of if statement. Now the if the drawback of if statement is resolved, is solved by the next one is that is if else statement. The if else statement is also a boolean statement, a conditional statement in which there are two block. One is if block and another is else block. And the whenever the given condition is true, the if block will be executed, and the given condition generate the false output. At the false output, the else block will be executed. It means in this statement, means in if else statement, there are proper treatment of both the output. If the condition is generate true output, then the a well defined block is there to execute the statement. And if the condition is generate false output, then there also a well defined block of statement is there to execute. But if we want to do something with the else statement, the condition false, we can use else statement with the if statement. Now you can see the flow diagram, the flow chart of the if else statement. Same here. The if expression is given. There is no some student get confused with the if else statement. There are two conditions. No, always condition is one, but the output of the condition is two. One is true and another is false. If the true output, then the if block execute. If the false output, then the else block. You can minutely observe the flowchart diagram of this. If the we consider the if flow diagram, then there is no treatment for else output or false output. So here we can see if the given expression is generate true, then the if body or if block will be execute. If the given condition is generate false, then the false else block will be executed. Statement just below if, and after both the statement block execution, the remaining code of statement will be executed. You can see here the clear condition of both output. Condition is true if the number is 10. If number is 0, then code. If number is minus 5, then else, then also code. If else, both the code. If the condition is true, then only one block, that is if block, will be executed. When the condition is false, the if block is skipped and the else block will be executed. So in if else block, only one block will be executed at a time, either if block or else block. If condition is true, then if block executed. If condition is false, then else block. That's why it is also known as selection statement, because of we select either if block or else block. Syntax: if we write if condition, if the condition is generate true, then this if block will be execute. If the condition is generate false, else, then we execute this block. This block is known as if block and this block is known as else block. If the condition generate true, then the if block will be execute. If the condition is false, then the else block will be execute. For example, I equal to 20. If I is less than 15, if the I value of I is less than 15, then the message print here I is smaller than 15. I am in if block. If the given condition is generate the false output, it means the value of I is not less than 15. Then else block will be execute and I is greater than 15 and I am in else block. And after executing of either if block or else block, the I am not in if and not in else block. This statement is common statement. Whether your condition true, false, no matter. Just you want to execute some statement, then you can write after else block. Now, the all these are we will discuss or we will demonstrate it in a Google. Suppose we write here the value of I equal to 20. I write here, prepared here the same program. If the value of I is less than 15, colon, print I is smaller than 15, and print I is in if block. Else print I is greater than 15. Print I is in else block. And some common statement. Print this statement will be executed whether your condition is true or false. This is not determined by the condition. It is generally or commonly execute in all situation. I is in not in if block and not in else block as well. Now execute the program. Wait, the value of I is 20. If the value of I is less than 15, you can see I is greater than, the value of I is less than 15, no, then else block will be execute. I is greater than 15, I am in else block. And third statement, which is common or is already in both the cases, suppose you value increase the value of or decrease the value of I is 10. Now I is smaller. Look, the two statement, these two statements are execute only when else block will be execute, and these two statements execute when the only if block execute. But this, the third statement is common in execute in both if block as well as else block, because of it's a common statement. It is not inside a any block. So you can see that if the given condition is true, then the if block will be execute. You can see I is in smaller than 15 and I is in if block, and I is not in if block and else block. And if the condition is false, then the execute else block, if block is not executed here. So I hope you understand the execution of if and else block. The third statement, that is known as nested if statement. In some situation, we are trying to check more than one condition within a condition. Suppose, for example, if you are uh, check a condition one, if it is true, then next condition is checked. If, for example, whenever you play a game, if the level 1 you clear, then level 2 is active. Level 2 is clear, then level 3 is active. It means some condition is provided to execute. If the one condition is true, then the next condition is execute. Otherwise, if the first condition, if you are not clear the level 1, then you are not eligible or you are not enter into the level second. Same thing. How it is takes place in Python. So in Python there is nested if statement to execute these type of statement, or this type of a nested if is an if statement that is target of another if statement. It means when a if statement is execute, then it target or it transfer the execution pointer to the next if, or you can say another if, which is inside the previous one or previous if. Nested if statement means an if statement inside another if statement. It means a if statement is within another if statement. Yes, Python allows us to next. Python and other programming languages also allow to, but we will discuss about only Python language. Python language allow us to nest if statements within if statements. That is, we can place an if statement inside another if statement. For example, you can see syntax: if condition 1 execute when condition is true, and the condition 2 is also given. Condition 2 when will be the condition true execute once condition 1 is executed, then condition 2 will be execute. If the condition 1 is false, then your execution block or your execution pointer terminate the inside block. It is not enter into if is block. Execute when condition 2 is true. If condition 1 is true, then this statement execute. Condition 2 is checked. If the condition 2 is true, then this statement execute. The if the condition to block 2 is end, and then block 1 is in. It means a if statement executed after another if statement. That is known as nesting of a nested if else statement. That is, create a nesting of if statements. For example, I is 10. If the value of I is equal to 10, first I is equal to 10. If the I is less than 15, I is smaller than 15. If I is less than 12, I is smaller than 12, 2, it means all three statements are execute because of I is equal to 10, I is less than 15, and I is once you check the first condition, then check second condition, and then check third condition, and all three statements are executed because of all three statements are true. Once a condition is false, then you can not execute the inner statements. Here, the concept of inner and outer statement. Inner statement, a statement which is present inside of any if statement. Suppose the second one, I is greater less than 15, is present inside the if I is equal to 10. If any value provided to I is not equal to the 10, this condition is not true. And your execution pointer never enter into this. Then never check the I is less than 15 or whatever I is less than 12. For example, we will demonstrate it in a Google Colab. Suppose, for example, right here I equal to 10. I write the same code, whatever I explain you in a example. I equal to 10 if I equal to double equal to is check for which equality. If the I value is equal to 10, then print I is equal to 10. And if I is less than 15, print I is smaller than 15. If I is less than 12, I is less than 12, then print I is smaller than 12 2, and just execute this code. You can see all three statements are executed because of once you check if I is equal to 10. Yes, if the first condition is true, the statement will be execute, and then check the next condition. If I is less than 15, then if condition true, then execute, then check the next condition, and it's nesting. One question arise here, sir, up to which level we can nesting? Suppose for example this is 1 2 3 level. You can take any number of levels like 10 20 15. It means 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 up to infinite. You can take you can use nesting of if. Suppose for example the value of I is 11. For example, the first condition is false because of the value of I is not equal to 10. What do you think? This condition is checked. This condition is will be checked or not? Anyone? If the first condition is false, then the second condition will be checked, the third condition will be checked or not? No, because of if the condition first condition, remember the if statement, if the given condition is true, then only then only the execution is enter into this block. If the condition is false, then directly move out. You can say there is no output. There is no output because of only one condition. You can write here, no problem. Print right here all conditions, the I is not equal to 10, and the first condition is false. So the execution is not enter into a block. You can see I is not equal to 10. The value of I is not equal to 10, and the first condition is false. So the execution is not enter into the if block. Once the execution is not enter, then how the execution pointer check if is I is less than the value of I is less than 15. The value of I is less than 12, but it is not checked because of first level. You are maybe you are eligible for or capable to crack the second level, but first you have to crack the first level. If you are not attempt or if you are not crack the first level, then you're not eligible for enter, or you are not eligible for appear in the second level. It is not matter whether you are crack or not, but you are not eligible for that. Same here, if the first condition is false, then never the execution pointer is enter into a if block. Getting my point? Clear now? Okay.